So you want to be an NFL coach? Welcome to this edition of the 941 Sports Zone. I'm Spitz. John, you went fishing instead of going to Phoenix. Your thoughts?
I did.
I could see by the caption, below average fisherman, probably not the best decision you've ever made.
Well, I get to eat all the fish that everybody else catches, which is great. but I'm actually probably a below average fisherman because I don't have the desire that good fishermen do. I get extremely bored quickly with the process.
I can't see how.
When you're sitting there and you're trying to catch fish and you're not doing anything and it's cold out and everything else, it's very difficult to sort of manage your patience to stay with it. So that makes me very below average when it comes to fishing because I just don't have the patience to sort of to get through it. And of course, the other side is deep sea fishing being something that you can, as well as we did lake fishing this time, but deep sea fishing, I'm about a 50-50 proposition of getting seasick. So that makes me a really crappy fisherman half the time. So when I do go, I always take the risk of it on deep sea. This was nothing like that at all. Very calm waters, nice little lake. It was no problem. But if I'm out in the deep blue, the deep water, forget about it. You never know what you're going to get from me. So I will take the mantle of below average fisherman.
Okay. And Phoenix is waiting for you for next year. Anyway,
the
941 Sports Zone presented as always by the good folks at Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. They are locally owned and nationally backed, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses up and down the Gulf Coast. 941-251-4257 is the number. Give them a call, 941-251-4257. We're kind of going to do things a little bit differently this week because there has been so much coaching news since our last podcast last Monday. We start with on Tuesday that Mike Tomlin decided to, here come air quotes, step down. Whoops, I can't get him into the screen. There we go. Step down and step away from the Steelers job. First off, great career, 19 years, got himself a Super Bowl. It was in Tampa, as a matter of fact. That was the great Santonio Holmes catch on the sidelines, the toe tap. But I don't think we're hearing the whole story there. I think, the Rooney's made the proclamation last year that it's not going to be acceptable to make the playoffs and be one and done. And I think he might have saw the handwriting on the wall and they might have met and he might have said, why don't you, with dignity, go ahead and just say that you're going to step away. Am I way off base here?
No, I think you're 100% right. And I think there's, 19 years is a long time to be a head coach of anything, especially professionally.
No question.
And I think there's, the Steeler front office, the Rooney family, they're very, very coach loyal. There's no doubt about that. You see 3 coaches in almost 60 years?
Since 1969, I was 3.
Right. And so with all that being the case, you really got to think that they were ready for a change. They may have seen something internally, locker room. Who knows what it may be? Maybe even stylistically, the Steelers feel like they're falling behind the times a little bit.
Right.
That could be the case. However, I think Mike Tomlin will get a coaching job again. I don't know where, and I don't think it'll be this year. So next year might be the time if you're looking for a proven commodity as a coach. Might be your time to go ahead and try to fish up on Mike Tomlin.
I don't think he coaches again.
Really? Okay.
This is a pattern in Pittsburgh. Chuck Noll stepped down, didn't coach again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everybody thought that. Oh my God, what's his name? The
Cowher.
Cowher, Bill Cowher. Thank you. Oh my God, I had a brain cramp there. Bill Cowher. Oh, he was going to take a year off, and he was going to be the coach of this team or the coach of that team. He's still in TV and loving it. I just think, after 19 years, not winning a playoff game in forever and then getting blown out on that Monday night game against the Texans, I just think he's probably going to get into a TV gig just like Cowher did and get very comfortable.
It's entirely possible because the 19 years is what you're looking at, because there are guys that have been hired 3 times and may only have 11 years in. 1 for 19 is a long time, a lot of stress, full time. You're never not football season never ends in the NFL, so you're constantly doing something from the job itself or with the job itself. So I can definitely see that stepping away as a professional coach at 19 years might be where he goes. And he's still a young guy, so he has a whole life of time and stuff ahead of him to do whatever he wants to do. So
he's not even 50 yet, I don't think, right?
No. And I think I've told you, I thought when the Gators filed Billy Napier before I fired him, before that, I was like, hey, go and get Mike Tomlin, because I thought that he was a sort of a dead man walking, so to speak. And maybe college football would have been something that would have maybe piqued his interest a little bit. He has a very sort of college mentality in some ways. Just his demeanor and how he speaks with the team. He sort of, I wouldn't say he overpowers them, but he has a very decisive way of speaking and doing certain things. He doesn't come across as wishy-washy, and sometimes that's how you see some of the really great college coaches act. They are like a Nick Saban. He's far from wishy-washy, and he has high expectations, and he doesn't mind letting somebody know on the sidelines when they do something wrong. I think Mike Tomlin is that guy. And with the NIL situation in college football, pro coaches may become a commodity in the NCAA ranks because they have to learn how to deal with rosters that are going to have money associated with it and everything else. So that was sort of a reach thought for me. But seeing him leave the Steelers, there may be something to that. Maybe not with the Florida Gators, but with somebody else.
And then, of course, we woke to the news this morning, just a little before 9 o'clock, that the Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott after 9 seasons. And John, this is where, you're, as a Jets fan, here's a guy who won 67% of his games. In 9 seasons, he's had 7 division titles. He made the wild card this year, only didn't make the playoffs once. 2 AFC title games. And Buffalo says, we're going to move on. Now, I think in the case of Buffalo, and we've heard a lot from the fans of Buffalo the last couple of years. I listened to some very good podcasts out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
And some radio that, he's, a lot of people were like, I think we're going to go as far as we can. We've gone as far as we can with him. And of course, they lose the game on Saturday in Denver in overtime. He makes a couple of questionable calls, particularly at the end of the first half, 16 seconds left. Why not just eat the ball? And Allen ends up fumbling, and they give up 3 free points, and they end up losing by 3 in overtime. Your thought? I know you've been a guy that's been on the, hey, maybe it's time for him to go bandwagon, but as a fan of the Jets, I'd be on the phone in like 5 seconds. I'll sign up for that right now. Right.
There's no doubt. But I think with McDermott in particular, there's the way the Bills win. It's odd to me. They seem to struggle to get to the win. They seem to struggle to make sound decisions, not just from a coaching perspective, but from a quarterback position as well. They seem to be okay with sort of like personnel decisions. I don't know where they come from with sometimes. And again, this is not a McDermott deal. This is a front office deal as well.
Right.
And so, but I look at the Bills and I'm like, God, they're good. How good would they be if they weren't in the AFC East with crap to play against? I mean, the Patriots were on crap all the time, but they were crap for a number of years. The Dolphins have struggled. The Jets are just the Jets. And so you just look at that and you say, I can see where maybe like I said, maybe if they were playing in, let's say the AFC West, maybe they wouldn't have as many playoff appearances or whatever it may be, because there's some mechanism in place that seems like they kind of stumble into some wins. They seem like they sort of struggle with certain decisions that are in the game time. And they come out with wins, but they don't ever seem like they're a force to be reckoned with. And it seems like more than not, the media is rooting for them to be that force. But looking at them, my perspective, I've never seen it. But who do you get to replace McDermott? It's got to be an offensive guy if you're going to do
I
that.
agree.
And do you now have to? Does this turn into which I'd be fearful as a Buffalo Bill fan? Does this become the Josh Allen show, where he's going to pick a coach or he's going to be involved in the situation? What happens there?
I think he's going to have a say, but I don't think he gets to pick. I also don't. He was supposed to appear yesterday and didn't, which is leading to a lot of speculation that he might have known that this was coming. They may have gone to him and said, "Hey, we're thinking of doing this. What are your thoughts?"
Well, the tears after the game may have been an indication as well. That he might have known
and
something.
the fact that Sean McDermott was visibly upset and was after the referees for that non-interception call. And I will agree with him on this. That deserved a formal review. That didn't reserve a, hey, this is New York. Looks like an interception. Let's just move on. I mean, that should have been something that should have took a lot longer. That notwithstanding, certainly the Bills have some work to do. One thing that I was shocked about was that Brandon Beane, the general manager, was actually promoted. He's now president of football operations and general manager. And I know there's a lot of people, especially listening to a lot of Buffalo talk radio and podcasts today. There's a lot of people in Buffalo that are a little confused by that.
I think you're right, but I will say this: new stadium coming up. Is it next year or
next year? The final game they have there's actually a X post of Sean McDermott looking out to the stadium from the tunnel, right? Basically after the season, basically saying, you've been a great old girl, but we're going into the new stadium next year. So well,
I think that this is looking at it from maybe a bigger picture view, a more business perspective. You don't want to go into the you want everything to be shiny and new. Okay, you're not getting rid of Josh Allen. You don't want to lose your coach and your GM probably at the same time. Maybe you're going to put somebody in charge of the situation so that you have some singular focus at some point in time. I'm not quite sure if this is all makes any sense, but you go into it and you have a new coach, new hopes, new this, not sort of coming off another sort of disappointing situation. You're going in with a whole new brand new feeling to it. Maybe that the ownership felt that as a business decision, this was the best thing to do. Maybe more so than just an X and O situation. And also remember, McDermott did some stuff a few years back in the locker room. The specifics I don't recall each specific, but he said some things that put off some of the players, and so I'm wondering if this hasn't been a lingering thing, and that sort of stain on his record has always been around, and maybe they just decided like, hey, let's go this direction, and then let's lean into Josh and our GM and make a fresh start with a fresh coach.
Well, it's interesting because they don't have to look very far to find a possible candidate, because Brian Daboll is a Buffalo native.
Yeah.
And he is a big time friend of Josh Allen. It almost makes too much sense for them to hire him.
It does, but I also look at it and say, that was a failure, in New York with the Giants.
Yeah, but is that him or is that Joe Shane?
Again, that's the question you have to ask,
right?
The Buffalo fans or the Buffalo GM, because if it, and I know he's still getting interviewed, so he's not the failure hasn't really marred his too much.
He's getting a job no matter what.
Yes, especially when 1/3 of the league is getting new coaches. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of that out there. Just like Kevin Stefanski, there's no way he was not going to get back on track. That franchise in Cleveland was being run like just terribly. Just disasters after disasters for them.
Yep.
But no, I get it. I could see it happen, and maybe they pulled the trigger with the idea that that's where they were going to head anyway. You know what I mean? So maybe there's more continuity to this decision than maybe we even realize.
And then we're just before 6:00 on Monday, and news is breaking that the Dolphins have their man, and it's Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator of Green Bay. And I got to give my radio partner, Carrie Black, some credit for that. She was, when I did my sports report this morning, word was out that he was the leading candidate. Well, apparently the Dolphins are about to pull the trigger and make him the head coach there. That's an interesting, that's philosophy opposite too. Mike McDaniel is an offensive guy, and Hafley, of course, obviously it remains to be. He is the guy. I mean, he's never been a head coach. So, your thoughts?
I think that there's a lot more in Miami that's going to have to happen other than just the head coach. You've got Tua to look at after. You got a whole offensive change that's going to have to happen there because it's just not working. McDaniel, I think he was how do I put it? I think he was tied to Tua, and that just didn't work out whatsoever. So the Dolphins are, in my opinion, whatever coach comes in. I don't know his resume. I know the Green Bay's always had a pretty good defense over the years. They seem to be pretty steady. However, there's a lot more to work out in Miami than just getting a new head coach. I think they've got a lot more to do. So good luck to him in figuring that out and seeing if how much of a hit Tua is to get rid of.
It's $99 million.
So that's the thing. So are you now going to be a hogtied with a bad salary or hogtied with a bad quarterback? What's the decision to be made there? And so the Dolphins, to me, I have a lot of Dolphin friends, and I really look at it and say it seems to be a real tough situation coming up. They may have to go way backwards, similar to what the Patriots did.
Denver with Russell Wilson. Right. They may have to do that. They may have to eat a giant chunk. I think if they wait until June 1st, if I'm not mistaken, they can kind of split that into two parts, but it's still $99 million over 2 years. And that is a giant hit. And, you get the right coach like Sean Payton. Denver's in the AFC Championship game.
That's the point. I just mentioned the Patriots. You mentioned the Broncos. How long did it take to fix it? It didn't take a long time because it goes right back to the same thing. Quarterback and coach.
Yep.
And where does it work? And you can figure it out pretty quick. Which I will say, looking at it from the Miami Dolphins perspective, hopefully and I think it's not going to be about the defense that's going to be run. It's going to be about the OC he hires.
Yes.
Okay. You look at these teams and you say, okay, can this guy hire the right guy, put the right quarterback around him, and then cobble together what they need to have? Excuse me. I think that's definitely what's going to have to happen with the Dolphins.
Okay, and a couple other things happened over the weekend. John Harbaugh finally signed his contract, 5 years, $100 million. I guess we don't need to hold a telethon for him. He's going to have plenty of money over the next 5 years. And Kevin Stefanski also, as you mentioned, he was hired by the Falcons Saturday night, a 5-year deal term. If not those technical difficulties here, those are the two coaches that everybody said once they get signed, the dominoes are going to start to fall, and you see Hafley going to the Dolphins. I suspect by the time we come back next Monday, that we'll have several more hirings.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think they are going to come hot and fast and furious at some point in time. And in all those cases, if you could probably go through team by team and say, hey, maybe this is the guy, maybe that's the guy. But once again, it's going to be the jobs that are out there. Buffalo is a great job. You got Josh Allen. I mean, I'm critical of Josh Allen all the time, but it doesn't mean he's not good. I just think that his approach isn't really probably it's not a championship approach. And so looking at those teams, there's going to be some guys who are going to start wanting to get some people filled quickly.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it start to happen. And whoever drags their feet, that's going to be a tough situation for them.
No question about it. Hey, listen to this. In the AFC East, Mike Vrabel is the gray-haired guy. He's been hired for 367 days, 5 more days than your coach with the Jets.
Yes.
And the other two teams are looking for coaches. Although, like I said, the Dolphins got Hafley now, but Buffalo's looking for a coach. 7 of the 10 openings. So there's 7 openings now. If this Hafley thing is true, 7 openings. But as of this morning, of the 10 openings, 7 were in the AFC.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
My opinion on that
Yeah.
is that everybody sees an opportunity within the AFC.
Uh-huh.
I think these guys are sitting around going, "There's a window, man. We need to figure this out quickly because we can get in there." And so even with Buffalo, they know they have a window with Josh Allen.
Yes.
They know they
But
have
it's closing.
Yes, it's going to be and listen, we know he's a big dude. I give that to him, but he takes a beating in a game.
Yes.
Okay, he's probably the quarterback with the dirtiest jersey of every single game, and not because he got sacked, because he's running and doing whatever he needs to do. So the Bills, I wouldn't call it panic, but I would definitely say they saw looked at it and said, "Is Sean McDermott going to let this guy do what needs to be done? Or are we going to give him the opportunity and support him defensively? What are we going to do with this?" And so I can understand why they made the change. And the other teams, hey, I got to get better quick. And I think some of the success, like a Sean Payton, like a Mike Vrabel, they look at that and say, well, wow, look at how quick that success happened. Look at in Seattle as well.
Yep.
They find Sam Darnold, they get the new coach. Boom, they look like the dominant team in the NFL right now. So that's the kind of thing you got to say that these teams are in the AFC especially. We have a chance. Kansas City has come down to earth. Look at San Diego. They move Harbaugh in to be with what's his name, Herbert. And they got a window now, and they want to see that stuff. So there's a lot of that stuff happening. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. I think that you're going to see a run in the next few years. There's not going to be a lot of repeat winners. I see a string of single winning teams winning Super Bowls because they hit at the right time.
Okay, that's interesting. Here's a stat, and I think I heard it on the It's Always Game Day in Buffalo podcast with our good buddy Sal Capaccio and Matt Bove. Since 2018, now Josh Allen was drafted in 2017. So since 2018, Brandon Beane has drafted 56 players. Okay.
Right.
Throughout the draft, first to last round. Do you know how many have made the Pro Bowl?
Let me think. One.
Double it. Two.
Okay. I would say Cook would have made it.
Yep.
And
I believe Matt Milano's the other one.
Okay, Milano. I was going to say maybe a Kincaid or one of the tight ends. I would have thought made it, but no. Look, I get it. It's the
so the Buffalo fan who's upset because they didn't blow out the GM, he points to that.
And that's rightfully so. But like I said, the promotion part of it, keeping them, I could see. The promotion part of it makes it a little odd because you say to yourself, "You're really a promotion, and this is your track record." I don't know. And the thing is, we'll go back to this. What does Josh Allen think? Okay,
right.
McDermott gets blown out, and then is he on board with what the GM has done? Is he on board with where? I don't know.
We're gonna find out in the next few days because at some point he's gonna face the music.
Believe it or I mean, for as good as Josh Allen is, and he's gonna make you relevant. This could be a disaster if you think about it. It could be a real disaster.
Sure.
Yeah, you just don't.
Sure, it's definitely a chance. I don't think there's any question because the defense is old. We've talked about it. They just keep bringing in Von Miller, Bosa. They've been bringing guys back. Tre'Davious White came back after they let him go. Again, you want to say, and the wide receiver position has been a point of consternation there.
Right.
And a lot of people thought they should have done something at the trade deadline. There's a certain guy that was available from New Orleans. I think his name is Rasheen Shaheed, and did he not return the opening kickoff of the Seattle game for a tutty? And he's got like a half dozen touchdowns since the Seahawks traded for him. I mean, again, that's another thing that Bills fans certainly have a little bit of discussion about. So
Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Firing coaches that are winners, proven winners, and taking a risk on who the next guy could or would be. Funny enough, too, Pittsburgh has put it out there that they wouldn't be opposed to getting Aaron Rodgers back for next year. If I'm Steeler fan and we blow out Mike Tomlin and we're going to go back to Aaron Rodgers, I'm furious at that.
Well, I don't think that's going to be. I think they know that, and I think the reason Tomlin stepped away, and again, that's the official term. He wasn't blown out. He stepped away. I think a lot of the reason he did is because he knows that there needs to be a complete rebuild there.
Right. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm stepping away for 1 second. I'm putting
All
a
right,
light.
you step away. I'll tell everybody that the 941 Sports Zone is brought to you, as always, by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. Give them a call at 941-251-4257. That's 941-251-4257. They are locally owned, but they have national backing, which is tremendous. And up and down the Gulf Coast, if you're hearing this, give them a call, 941-251-4257.
I was getting darker and darker.
The games themselves, we had 2 overtime games out of the 4 divisional round games. We talked about the Buffalo game. And again, Buffalo turns the ball over 5 times, and yet they're in an overtime game. How much better were they? And maybe that's part of the reason why the Bills got together and Pagula and Brandon Beane got together and said, listen, we were so much the better team, and yet we didn't win the game. And maybe that's the reason why they decided to change.
Listen, I think there might have been some writing on the wall, but I totally agree that you look at how these things are happening, how good you could be, how good you going into it. There's no doubt in my mind that Buffalo should have been in the Super Bowl at least once in the last couple of years. There's no doubt in my mind. And so, so there's something to that. You're like, here we go again. How long do we wait for this to sort of play out? You start looking at things and say, what happens if Josh Allen gets hurt, or what happens? There's again something to that, and I think they just had to make it. They made a choice. Could be the worst choice, could be the best choice. Just don't know what it's going to be. Tampa Bay, Tony Dungy transitions to John Gruden. Is that the move? Is that what happens?
Right.
It's
if they go and win a Super Bowl next year, everybody's going to be saying, "Yep, Tampa put the blueprint together and Buffalo followed it." But that's a big if, and the next guy that comes in is going to have the weight of the world on his shoulders.
I 100% agree. One thing I will say too, if I know Josh Allen wears his emotions out there a little bit.
He really did Saturday.
It was something, but you almost have to look at him if you're the GM and say, look, man, I appreciate that, but you got to be genuine, and you got to be who you are, right? We get all that, but we need you to be the leader of this football team. And that doesn't mean that you have to run the ball every time and do everything on your own. It just means that you got to be somebody who now takes on a role of and brings everybody up with him. And crying in the locker room is not leadership material. It's not, what I'm saying. And again, and then everybody, and I'm not saying don't be genuine, but you've got to be the leader, and you got to walk up and face some things. I kind of kidded around over the years where when he loses games, he's like the kid who just lost a little league game. You know what I mean? He's dragging his bat to the car, and there's
his emotion on his sleeve. There's no question.
Yeah, he's got to be the guy.
Technical difficulties here tonight.
Yeah, a little bit, but you know what? You're doing it. It's still coming across nice, Rich. You're doing just fine. But the idea is, I think that a leader has to be. He can wear his emotions. I get that in some cases, but every single time, you're sort of saying, all right, Josh, you're 29 years old. You're going to be 30. We need you to be the guy who's picking people up. Not everybody coming up and you and hugging you because you lost the game. You know what I mean? You got to be the guy picking the rest of the guys up and showing the team, showing the fan base that you're the guy who's going to lead him to the promised land, not the guy who's going to cry because he lost again. Doesn't work. It's got to fix it a little bit.
Tough luck for the Broncos. They did kick the winning field goal, and about 25 minutes later, after doing his original press conference, Sean Payton came back out on about as innocuous a play as you could possibly. I watched a 10-minute video with a doctor trying to figure out where Bo Nix broke his ankle on the second to last play of the game on a run left, basically.
Yeah, it was sweep, quarterback sweep.
Yeah, quarterback sweep, and really there was nothing visibly that you could see that was violent, but apparently he broke his ankle. He's done for the year. And Sean Payton almost defiantly said quarterback Jared Stidham will be just fine. You watch for it. Here's a guy who hasn't taken a snap since 2023.
I know. And it's really weird because the Bo Nix thing.
I'll be watching.
The Bo Nix thing, I thought it was a joke because I
couldn't believe it either. I'm like, what? Because I saw an Adam Schefter tweet and I'm going, somebody hack his account?
Watch the game with 2 Bronco fans in this fishing trip scenario, right? And I just sort of, hey, I went and I would have had some oysters and I was going to go eat for a bit and, wait for the next game to come on. And I didn't pay attention to anything that other than the next game, because I'm thinking, okay, that's done. I didn't want to hear all the wrap up stuff. Anyway, the next morning, the Denver guys like, I was hoping to wake up this morning and that was a bad dream about Bo Nix breaking his ankle. I'm like, what'd you just say? He did what?
Yep.
Where did that happen? When he was in the parking lot? But because he never limped, he played the next 2 plays.
Well, next play he did the well, you're right, 2 plays. He did through the pass that turned out to be pass interference, and then he centered the ball. He did limp off the field after that. I did see footage of that. There was definitely a noticeable limp. But just terrible news. And I guess the only thing that Jared Stidham has going for him is that he's going to play the team that drafted him.
Yeah. There's no doubt about
2019, the New England Patriots, because the Patriots in the snow yesterday came back, or didn't come back. I guess they were down 10-7 at one point, but CJ Stroud, he tried to say, was a human turnover in the first half, 4 interceptions. And the Patriots, believe it or not, they didn't take advantage. The only one they got points off of was the pick 6, believe it or not. But it was enough as New England had down of 28-16. So the Patriots will head to Denver as a favorite. It's 4.5, and it was 4. It went up to 5.5. Now it's back down to 4.5. And I have a funny feeling it'll be to that magic number of 6 by the time we kick off at 3 p.m. next Sunday.
It's definitely possible. I will say this to you too. Again, watching football with a group of guys, I was sort of bemoaning the fact that CJ Stroud was one of my fantasy quarterbacks, and he just is the most inconsistent quarterback ever. And one of the guys looked at me and says, I hate him. He's my starter. I can't. He ruined my league thing. He all over it. And just watching him play, he has a even in that first year where he was just looking so good, he has a certain look about him. Like he's either like sort of confused, not sure how to, like it's like something's misstepped with him. He doesn't know when to run or when to throw it away. He doesn't know. Everything is off for him. And that defense was so good.
Yep.
They made that run. There was nothing that, I wouldn't say nothing, but Stroud didn't do much in a lot of games to make that winning streak happen. That was a phenomenal defense, scary defense, and kudos to the Patriots offense and Drake May to sort of stay, to stay in that game, even with the intense pressure and the intensity of that Texans defense.
Yeah, 4 fumbles by May, 2 lost, basically kept Houston in the game. It was a slippery field. Listen, it snowed all game. I can tell you I shoveled it this morning, so I know how much there was. But nonetheless, New England, let's give it up for their defense. We've been talking about their offense all year. Drake May, possible MVP, although I think it's going to be Matthew Stafford. Certainly he's going to finish second. But that defense yesterday was ball hawking. They got 4 picks. They could have easily had 8 or 9.
Right. I will tell you this. Obviously we're going to talk about the teams and different things. The Patriots totally impressed me. I thought they were going to win the game, but the way they played and got through adversity, Drake May compared to CJ Stroud looked totally different the entire game. I think that the Patriots have more weapons than I even realized. Two good running backs. Diggs makes a difference, man. Diggs is a difference maker.
He sure does. I think he's rubbed off on Booty. Booty made 2 great catches, including that one-hander in the end zone. I mean, throws a nice ball, makes it very catchable.
And it's funny because with May and how these quarterbacks are distributing the ball to guys that have come from different places, maybe a draft pick here and there, and to be that good, that quick. Again, it just shows you. I mean, and Mike Vrabel's a great coach. I love all that he does. The way he greets the guys in the tunnel after the game and everything else. Everything looks great. But getting Josh McDaniels to be his OC, that's look, Aaron Glenn. That's what you need to do. You know what I mean?
And there are a few OCs out there.
Absolutely right.
Brian Dable's one of them.
Got to get a guy. You got to get somebody. Or do something to get this right, because look what a difference it made. It just made it just. I'm not saying it makes a defense better, but you're not worried about having to win a game 9-6 or 12-8 or whatever it may be. You're going to put up some points, and you're going to do what you need to do. And you look at the Patriots, it's phenomenal.
Absolutely. And that's hard for you to say. I know, being a AFC East guy, and the fact that the Patriots were so good for so long. I know you had to swallow your pride a little bit there, but we're here, we're sports fans, we see greatness. And I think the scary thing is, I think they're going to be good for years to come.
Listen, that's the thing. It's like, so talk to me in a year or two from now, and I'll be like, I can't stand him anymore. But the one thing that about a division rival or even the Patriots specifically, it wasn't that I wasn't appreciative of greatness, but it was just the manner in which they went about it that bothered me.
Sick of it.
Well, it's like denial on this, denial on that. I didn't do this. I didn't do. It got to be to the point, hey, Tom Brady got hurt, so we got to have a rule now that you can't hit a guy low, and all these different things that sort of that came with the Patriots. It wasn't that you didn't know they were great. I would sit there and say, you know what they're going to do? They're going to score on the last drive of the first half, get the ball in the second half, go up 14 more than they were before, in game over. They did it over and over and over again. Simple things. Yeah. Never, Randy Moss was what, a 1 or 2 year guy with the Patriots. I forget how many years he was there. Okay.
2 or 3.
It didn't matter if it was Randy Moss or if it was anybody that was Troy Brown.
Amendola. Yeah.
Anybody.
They plug and play.
Put him in. Let him be good at what he does. Even the idea, you see a lot of this too. Good teams usually have good tight ends. And look at Gronk. Gronk was everything. Brady didn't get the key to Brady in Tampa was Gronk.
Yep.
That was the key. I got to get that guy. That's the guy I'm going to go to.
And listen, May has 2 of them. He has Hunter Henry. Absolutely. And he has 81, who I can't remember. He's got 2 good tight ends. And, he likes to throw that seam route, and he does it very well. So in the NFC, we already talked about Rashid Shaheed returning the opening kick for a TD. John, you called this. I re-listened to the podcast. You were all over this. You thought San Francisco was gassed, and they certainly played like they were gassed. Sam Darnold's injury, not be damned. That was the only thing that kept me from firing on this game. I wasn't sure about him, but it really didn't matter because, by the time he was in the game, it was 17-0 basically.
Right. And I think it's a bad the way the Seahawks play up in Seattle. I just thought it was a bad matchup for the 49ers. It has been all year. So that being the case, I still don't know what Seattle has. I just don't know. I'd love to tell. I'll tell you who I've sort of really have seen and who I like is Kenneth Walker III.
Yes, and with Zach Charbonnet going out with an ACL, what a time for him to step up. 3 tutties, and he's going to be the guy.
He was good at Michigan State, but
yes,
now he looks faster. He's fresh.
He's fresh,
really,
John.
It's really, I mean, I saw that guy. I'm like, damn, that guy's good. And so, yeah, so you look at Seattle, but gosh, second-year coach, Sam Darnold, the whole revitalization of his career over the last 2 years, what he can do. But yeah, I was talking about stats. I saw something earlier today this year with the Rams and the Seahawks, how they about their matchup with each other, whatever. They are they've each won a game. They have a point. They're a point difference in how many points scored and a yard difference in yards. So they're almost totally together. They're exact
evenly matched. Oh yeah,
evenly matched. And with Seattle being what they are, man, the one thing I worry about in this game is Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford. Okay. Mm-hmm. You've got that right there, that experience. Not saying if there wasn't those two, I might pick Seattle running away with the game and being the favorite in the Super Bowl. But I don't know. Those guys are good, and they've been there, and they've won one, and so there's a lot to be said about that. I could be sitting here next week and saying, well, Seattle is that good, but I don't know at this point. I really don't know. It's a game that I'd love to say I could jump all over, but in both games, AFC and NFC championship game, I'm not sure what's going to happen in either game, to be honest with you.
Well, the Rams struggled in the cold, as I thought they might. Still, they had a 17-10 lead, and they had basically one play to win the game. And Caleb Williams goes backwards 20 yards, and then with a flick of the wrist, throws the ball 55 yards in the air, and it falls right into the breadbasket of Cole Kmet for a touchdown. With 18 seconds left, Williams struggled throughout the game. Ben Johnson is known for, sticking it out there and taking gambles. How shocked were you that he kicked the extra point? I was stunned.
I wasn't, because of the game, what happened earlier. He lost the game. Okay. He lost the game because he had chances to kick field goals early in that game.
Yeah. So here we go again. Yes.
Okay. So having this game be closer than it was, it shouldn't have been that close. The Bears defense played probably as good as they could play.
Yes.
They were hitting, flying around early. Yep. And that
concerns me a little bit about the Rams. It really does, because they're going up against a much better defense.
I agree. But like I said, Ben Johnson lost that game. I think he needs to knock his ego down a bit. He's a little bit with the bravado that's going to cost him in the long run. And so I thought that he lost that game in the first quarter of that game when he's chasing points. I hate when guys. So that tells me that he thought my defense can't play with their offense. So I've got to score touchdowns or I'm going to lose this game. That's what it read to me.
All right. So with that philosophy, why don't you go for two? You're not the better team. You have a chance to win the game.
That's the point. My point would be, if you did it before, why didn't you do it again? All right. But if it was my decision, I'm kicking an extra point and going into overtime because, and I will say this, Soldier Field has not rocked like that ever.
It was great.
Ever. Because when the Bears were good, they were just mopping people up for a couple of years in the 80s, and they haven't been really great since then. But to have that happen and that play happen, you just felt like, oh my, the Bears are going to, now you're going to go down the field and you're going to score, and this is what's going to happen, and it's going to be it's unbelievable comeback. And then it just didn't happen. But I would have, based on all the circumstances in that particular game where it was, I wouldn't have taken the chances early, but I still wouldn't have taken the chances at that point with the 2-point conversion, because I'll tell you this, Caleb Williams throwing it from 40 yards away looked a little more comfortable than throwing it from 3.
Yeah.
And I thought a couple of the plays that they called the going for stuff, they didn't roll him out. He's an athletic guy. Put him in space. Buy him some time. even the play calling was silly to me. Like it was like, I'm going to show you that he can stand in the pocket and throw the ball. Well, great, but not in that situation. Yeah, I mean, I didn't. The whole thing didn't make any sense. I would like to hear some Chicago radio.
Game was there to be had.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
And I might have thought about listening to Chicago radio, but there was too much going on in Buffalo today. Anyway, so here we are, and you talked about it earlier, and I'm not sure if it got mishmashed in our technical issues, but Seattle and the Rams have played 2 unbelievable games. The first game was in LA. Sam Darnold threw 4 interceptions, and they had a field goal to win the game, which was blocked. Okay, they lost by 2 despite Darnold throwing 4 picks. Second game, the Rams have a huge lead in the fourth quarter. They're up 16. The Darnold leads them back. They go into overtime. They make 3 consecutive 2-point conversions, 2 in regulation that they needed to tie the game, and then the one in overtime, 38-37. I just give me one of those 2 games. Give me something that close. Seattle opened a 3-point favorite, and as we speak here at about 6:15 on Monday night, it's down to 2.5. I think it's going to vacillate between 2.5 and 3.
I believe you're right.
Should be a great game. That's the 6:30 game on Fox next Sunday in Seattle. How loud do you think that place is going to be?
Oh, it's going to be rocking. And like I said, so both home fields are outstanding home field advantages. Seattle with their home crowd, the 12th man, doing their thing. But Denver with the Mile High situation there. I mentioned this last week, I know, but I go back to those old Broncos uniforms when they finally came at it with Craig Morton at quarterback. The Raiders coming in there, and that that's when you watch the game and the camera would shake. Because the Bronco fans were just getting so into those games, and they're still that way. The Bronco fans, they are really about the Broncos, and it's a great environment. So
hopefully that being the case,
we'll hold off on predictions, but I think both games will be good contests. I don't think anybody's running away with anything in these 2 games.
Yeah, I hope so, because the playoffs so far have been really, really good, save for the one San Francisco game against Seattle. The rest of them have been just really tremendous. Even the New England-Houston game had some intrigue. Going back to that game real quick, at halftime, if CJ Stroud has 4 interceptions, I'm putting Davis Mills in the game. And so I heard somebody on talk radio today go, well, then you're going to have to make a tough decision next week. Get to next week and make the tough decision, okay? It wouldn't be a tough decision to me. If Mills comes back and wins the game, Mills plays, period.
When the network sideline people are ready to ask the question about, are you going to make a change? Yes. Because everybody sees how bad it's been and how bad it is with him. If the Steelers weren't so inept on offense, that he didn't do anything in that game to make a difference. So I would have went for it, and I will give him a little bit of credit. He did say I got to get better, and he didn't sort of avoid the fact that he played pretty crappy, and so he
let
did.
My
he
teammates
did,
down. He watched Josh Allen from the day before, just no tears. That's basically said the same exact thing. So
exactly.
All right, again, Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, bringing you this in every edition of the 941 Sports Zone, locally owned and nationally backed. They deliver exceptional roofing for homes and businesses up and down the Gulf Coast. 941-251-4257 is the number to call to get a hold of them and get your roofing taken care of. 941-251-4257. Well, by the time you probably watch this podcast, the college football playoff national championship game will have been played. It's only about an hour and 10 minutes from right now as we record on Monday evening. Top seed Indiana, 10th seed Miami. It's at Hard Rock Stadium. Advantage Hurricanes. Lines of scrimmage in this game, which I dove into this game a lot. And originally I was like, well, it's going to be Indiana. It's a coronation. I'm not so sure. And again, by the time you're watching this, you're going to be like, well, you should have stuck with your, or you should.
What do you think?
Changed. But there's pretty significant advantage advantages, John, on the line of scrimmage, the is about as big as Indiana's ever seen, and their offensive line, they have about a 50-pound advantage man for man. So if I'm Miami, I'm running the ball tonight. I'm controlling clock. I'm keeping the Heisman Trophy winner on the sidelines, and that's the way I'm trying to win this game. I'm trying to keep Mendoza out of the game, and I think Miami is going to have a decent chance. The one thing I don't think they're going to have is the true home field advantage. I've been, kind of peeking up as they do crowd shots.
Yeah.
I see red, red, red.
They're saying 60-40, maybe more Indiana in the crowd. So yeah, I think the home field is you're just comfortable because that's your stadium, so to speak. It may not sound like your stadium, but it's going to be your stadium. Rich, it's the Miami Hurricanes. That's what Mario Cristobal has been doing all year.
Mm-hmm.
For right or wrong, he's run that football, and play defense and keep Carson Beck, use him where you need him, whatever it may be. So I get what you're saying. And overall, I think Miami is maybe the hotter team. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, they're on a little bit of a hot streak, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. All these intangibles make this game squeeze down more and more from a point perspective. However, Indiana is the best team I've seen all year, bar none. Not like one game. Every game they played, I watched them, and even the Penn State game when they faced a tough environment, to go down in that situation and score that touchdown and do what they needed to do. It's really hard for me to pick against Indiana. Even with all the Miami's intangibles that are in there and a good running game and everything else. It would be, like anything else, it would be very surprising to me to see Miami come out in this game and win it. Indiana, however, and because it's just as good as Indiana's been, they've played fast teams, they've played big teams. Remember, they're playing Big Ten football. They shouldn't have this line shouldn't overwhelm them. Speed wise, they keep up with them. Miami has good players out there. The Tony kid, you've got to get him. You got to keep the ball out of his hands. But it's just to me, it's Indiana. That's going to be hard. And again, like I said, I could be watching this tomorrow, and we could just be looking at saying Miami did it. What do you know? They managed to get through it. It's just hard for me to pick against, not root against, but pick against a team that has been that good all year. I almost have to say this: Indiana will have to play poorly for Miami to win.
Okay. And that's fair. That's a fair statement. Mm-hmm. And that's how I thought last week. But I'm a line of scrimmage guy, and but Indiana's been doing it all year. I'm kind of like you. Interesting that the money today, this game's been pretty much 8.5 since we last signed off. It was 8.5 last week. It got to 8.5. It's now 7.5.
I think everybody's looking like you are. I mean, you get there and you're like, wow, okay, it is in Miami. It is all these different things.
I don't think it's not the in Miami. It's the physicality. I think.
And there's intangibles with Miami. There's so many little intangibles with them. Beck has got 6 years under his belt. He's been in the room for 2 national championships. There's got to be something to that, you would think. Right. You know what I mean? So there's just so many intangibles to Miami. Chip on their shoulder. Indiana's been sort of riding the wave. That kind of thing. And even the bravado that can be a little bit annoying with Ray Lewis and Michael Irvin and everybody on the sidelines.
Ed Reed, as I look at him
right now, it's a little. But even that, that like when those guys come back in the locker room and look in the eye and say, "This is your chance, legacy." Look. Hey, look at me. Look at where I ended up going. Look what I did. And I got and I'm here for this game because that's how important it is to me. There's something to those type of things in college football. A great speech, a guy that you looked up to on the sidelines, all those things. They'll have every intangible out there on their side. But we'll see. I mean, if Indiana, Indiana just to me, and I'll tell you this too, Signetti is good. He is. I mean, he's not gonna flinch. He's gonna look at Mario Cristobal and say, "Run the damn ball. Let's go. Let's do this." I truly believe that.
All right, so you're taking Indiana and laying the 7.5. I can just tell by the way you're talking.
I am. Yes.
Okay. I will that dollar that I owe you. Let's go double or nothing. I'll take Miami plus the 7.5.
Okay, cool. That works.
Double or nothing. There we go. All right, there we go. All right. Those, by the way, for me, it's not a lock. It's not my lock. I'll have another game for.
No, me either. I'm not.
Okay.
The points are a little hard.
This is just a prediction on the. Yeah. On this one. All right. A couple of more things before we bid adieu. The Lightning are continuing to be just red hot. They had their 11-game winning streak snapped in St. Louis, a 3-2 shootout loss. They did get a point. So they had a point in 12 straight games, and they made it 13 yesterday. Nice win in Dallas against a very good Stars team, 4-1. Jake Getzel with a couple of goals. And they just continue to play well. Vazzy with 19 saves and 20 chances. The Bolts remain tied for first in the Atlantic with Detroit, but they have those 3 games in hand. Tampa Bay will be home for the first time in 2 weeks, Tuesday night against San Jose. They made a couple of announcements. Tim McGraw, I guess, is going to be part of the entertainment for the outdoor game on February 1st against the Boston Bruins, and that's the Sunday between the championship games and the Super Bowl. Perfect timing for this game.
Right.
I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it's on the 4-letter, as a matter of fact. Can we get one of those cold fronts down there? I was on Kerry's show this morning. It was 39 degrees at 8:30. What the heck?
It snowed in the Panhandle yesterday.
Yes,
happening.
Second year in a row.
Yep.
Second year in a row. That's incredible.
No, I know. Definitely incredible.
So, all right, so the Lightning continue to roll. Panthers bounce back from one of their all-time losses. They lost 9-1 early in the weekend, and then they came back the next night and won. So championship pedigree there as well. I grew up an Islander fan in the 80s.
Right.
I know you grew up a Ranger fan. I've switched my allegiance down south to the Lightning.
Oh, me too.
I don't know where your allegiance lies.
I'm a Lightning fan. I'm definitely a Lightning fan. Not even close. I love the whole organization. I liked it from almost day one. Where there's a little confusion early in the process with the Japanese ownership and Phil Esposito, but all that different stuff.
Lord, yeah,
it was a little confusing. But
Woody Johnson.
It's
not Woody
really
Johnson.
Cool,
what is his
name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Johnson. Yeah, I know his last name was Johnson, and he was like a country bumpkin, and didn't spend any money, and
just a different deal. But what a turnaround! It's fun to watch. Great coaching. I mean, from Cooper. He's made himself an unbelievable, probably Hall of Fame coach at this point.
Oh,
but
no question.
Tortorella was what a character he was, and winning it with the Lightning as well. So yeah, I'm a Lightning guy. I'll peek a little bit here and there with the Rangers, but no, it's definitely.
Oh, they sent out a email to their fans basically saying, I think is it Chris Drury that's the GM now?
Mm-hmm.
Or Chris Kreider, one or the other. Basically sent out an email basically saying, folks, we're in rebuild mode and you just need to be patient with us. We're going to come back. They're currently last in the conference in points.
Yeah. Well, like I said, they had a run. I
don't think I ever saw that in my lifetime, but
they had a run, and
the reason I brought up, I suddenly disappeared. But I talk to fans up here. I'm up in the Boston area, so I talk a lot to a lot of their fans. They just can't believe that the last 6 years, the Eastern Conference champion has come out of the state of Florida, and it drives them absolutely batshit crazy. Pardon my French.
I know.
the Bruins have been good during that time, and the Lightning have said, just kind of went, okay, that's great, nice, and same thing
Yeah.
with the Panthers. Bruins had a couple, Bruins had the best record in the NHL. They had won the regular season title for most points, and Florida said, hold my beer. I'm not only going to win, I'm going to come from 3-1 down to win that. So I know it just drives the fans up here in traditional hockey country crazy, but we definitely are the
How about the
capital
Canadian fan base? The Canadian fan base,
Yeah.
when have they even had a champion up? It's been a while. It's been a long time.
93 for Montreal, 67 for Toronto, and Edmonton was 2006, I think. But
Okay.
it's been a drought and a half.
Right, and that's
actually no. Edmonton didn't win it because the drought is since 93.
Yes, so I
the Canadians won. So
Edmonton had the 4 years that they had with Gretzky and Messier, and yeah, but again, I'll say one thing about the state of Florida for any sports, guys want to come down here and play because there's no state sales tax.
That is correct.
State income tax. I'm sorry. So you're getting guys come down here, and then to go north, you're getting paid less on the Canadian side of it. So there's some definite economics that are affecting why where there might be a more of a Florida feel to the NHL. But who knows? That could be just a little part of it, but still, it means something.
All right. Time for locks of the week. John, you're on quite a streak here. I think at one point you were 7-6. I think you've won your last 4. You had the Broncos against the Bills and some tense moments, particularly late in regulation when the Bills ended up coming all the way back to take the lead. But you got your horse in the barn, and I, by the skin of my teeth, got the Bears in. They did lose, but they did cover the spread. And that's what I played yesterday. I was like, we got 2 dome teams against 2 outdoor teams in the elements. I took the points with the Bears, and I laid the points with the Patriots. Simplest parlay I think ever. I didn't try to overthink it. I mean, sometimes
sometimes in playoffs you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't. And that's going to be so. If you want me to go first, I'll go first for my lock.
Yeah. So you're 11-6, and I'm right behind you at 10-7. What is your lock, sir?
Well, we're going to keep it simple. I'm taking Seattle over the Rams and laying the point.
Laying the 2.5, even though both games were 2 and 1 point.
Yeah. So
I love it.
I'm taking it because it is that, to me, it's got to be that simple. I mentioned the McVay and the Stafford effect. Do I believe in Sam Darnold? I guess I'm saying yes at this point.
Yes,
he did it at Minnesota. He's done it at Seattle. He's got the weapons to do it. You got the home field advantage to that also.
And that defense is nasty.
Absolutely.
That defense is nasty.
Hard for the Rams to come off a game that they played last week, a physical game in the snow, and go up to Seattle, and it's going to probably be raining and cold or whatever it's going to be up there. So I think that
you got to win 3 straight road games to get to the big dance. That's a lot to ask. I like your pick, actually, to be truthfully honest with you.
I'll go
Seattle with the other game, and I'm not going crazy trying to figure out how Sean Payton's going to make Jarrett Stidham the next whoever you want to discuss. Right. I just think the Patriots are and I don't even want to talk about a team of destiny. Their defense is just playing lights out right now. They made Justin Herbert look silly. They made CJ Stroud look silly. And now the guy in front of them is Jarrett Stidham. I said it, and again, I'm not breaking any barriers or saying anything that's totally out of the ordinary. I just thought the winner of yesterday's game was going to the Super Bowl between Houston and New England, and I have no reason to think otherwise. I mean, Denver couldn't run the ball against Buffalo, who can't stop the run.
Right.
And now you're going to play a team. Did you hear at halftime, the Houston Texans have a pretty darn good running game. At halftime, they had 12 carries for 8 yards.
Right. I totally agree.
For 8.
Right. I totally agree.
They couldn't do anything. And so now Denver's going to run the ball? No. I'll take New England. all the way up to 7. I'll take it all the way up to 7. I know it's 4.5 right now. It got up to 5.5. I'll take it all the way up to 7.
So going back to what you're saying a little earlier about the Broncos and the running game and everything else, right? That's why I think with Buffalo, going back to our first conversation of this podcast, you look at that game and Denver really shouldn't have won that football game. Okay, they shouldn't have.
Buffalo's
Why
clearly
did they?
the better team? Yes.
Right. Why did they? And so the answer has to lie in one of two people. It's got to be Josh Allen or it's got to be Sean McDermott. So going back to looking at that and seeing how the game played out, well, I get the call was a tough call that everybody's gonna. That seems to be the focus of whatever else it was. It shouldn't have come down to that. It really shouldn't have. And so that's where I look at it and say, yeah, I get it, but it's like, and I've heard. Again, I'm with a bunch of coaches playing football. Fishing this weekend, and they say it all the time. Don't make a referee make a decision. Yep. If that happens, you put yourself in that spot, and that's your problem. And Buffalo's been in that spot way too many times, and they don't. And it's not just like AFC championships. It's all the time that they're in that spot. Why is Josh Allen? They call him Superman, and he's making he did it again. He shouldn't be doing it again. He should be Tom Brady and wiping people's asses off the field. Don't have to come back and win every game. It's stupid. At the little time, then you don't win because of that stuff. That's what happens.
All right, final segment. What's bugging me? I'll go first.
Okay.
The inconsistencies of the officiating from game to game, within a game. It's nuts. And I'm going to go back to that controversial play. And you know what? It's probably an interception, okay? I mean, I know there's guys that played the game that said he should have been down by contact or what have you. That should have been more than an expedited review, okay?
Right.
That's got to be – first of all, it's a turnover, and all turnovers are reviewable, okay? They're all reviewed. And that's what everybody says. Well, it was reviewed. Well, no, it wasn't. And Sean McDermott had a call the last time out of his career, at least in Buffalo, to slow things down and to say to the officials, you're really not going to go under the hood and look at that? It's only a divisional playoff game, and it's only somebody's season on the line. I think it's ridiculous that, the NFL and their official, they released something on X basically saying we wanted to keep the flow of the game going. It's overtime. Screw the flow of the game.
Right.
You all you talk about is make sure we get it right. Make sure we get it right. And again, they may have went under the hood and they may have said, you know what, that is an interception. And I mean, I've heard former officials say that, oh, that's clearly an interception. It's not even close. And I've heard other people the exact opposite way. It deserved more than an expedited review. And, and then the other games and some of the pass interferences that were called, the interference call towards the end of the Bears-Rams game.
Right.
The interference call before that or after that with the Buffalo defensive back on the Denver wide receiver. You're not calling penalties for the entirety of the game. And then in overtime, you're going to start throwing flags. Come on. Either one way or the other. They're not there to see you. No official, they don't have a thing, they do a 10-hour pregame show. John, have you ever seen anyone where, all right, let's meet each individual official and how they got here? No, not at all. No. They're supposed to be, make the right calls, okay? But you're supposed to be in the background. And if you've not called something all game and now all of a sudden you're going to start throwing flags like crazy, it just drives me nuts. I'll even go back to the last Venice game with all of the controversy that went on with that because, I mean, they're supposed to be calling penalties and they're not, and et cetera. I know it's a thankless job But in the NFL, even though it's not a full-time job, you get paid pretty good.
So if you were a referee, and I'm going to answer this question for myself too. And if I was a referee, before I threw that flag, I would be damn sure that it was a penalty. Okay, not because I think this is what it is. I think and I'll use the Venice game as well. You want to be smarter than you think you are. You want to be more into the situation. Sometimes you got to if you're worried about flow of the game, then keep your ass out of the game if that's the case. Okay, you see things where it's like very easy, jump off sides. That's nothing, right? Holding can get a little weird sometimes, but there's clear holding in some cases. Don't kind of think it is, and technically he had his hands outside. No, don't do that. I get in these games, let it go. Let it go. It would be like a referee in a boxing match and then telling somebody you punched them too hard. Hey, settle down. Being that involved in the outcome, let it flow. A referee in boxing, don't let him clinch. Don't let him hit in the nuts. Whatever it is, right? Be that way as an NFL a referee. You don't have to be so a part of the game. You don't have to be.
You shouldn't be.
Right. And I think
we shouldn't be talking about you on Monday with all these close. What's bugging me, and hopefully John now. There we go. Much better.
Yes.
All right, John. What's bugging you?
So I didn't come out of this weekend or this week with like this one thing that really got under my skin. Because I was like, the games went the way I thought it kind of were going to go, and it was okay. But I will say this: what a great weekend of football, right? You got coaches being fired. Just all the air is been sucked out of the basketball. You're not hearing one word out of us about basketball, and they're playing games right now for today's holiday. But come on, guys, can we figure out a way to not have a damn national championship game on a Monday night at 7:30 after the NFL just sucked the air out of the room? Come on, there's more to it than that. It's too big of a deal to be putting this shit out there on Monday night. It's ridiculous. How about a Friday night or anything else before the NFL season playoffs? Figure something out.
Right.
Okay? Why is Monday night better than Thursday night or Friday night? I got to go to work tomorrow. Okay. Right. It's going to take 5 hours to play this damn football game because they're going to have they're doing a whole day's worth of pregame. They're going to do pregame. They always 7:30. What's going to happen? It'll be Fowler and Herb Street in the box for 10 more minutes, and then a national anthem, and then we're not going to get started. Then we're going to go have college has a long halftime as it is anyway for the bands and all the other shit. Probably be a half an hour before they come back for the second half.
Yes,
it's going to be a big deal. So one of the intangibles I didn't bring up from Miami is just this situation. Miami's in their home stadium, right? All the stuff's going to go on. The standing around, whatever it may be. Miami's comfortable. They're there. That's where they've been. That's like being at a football game, watching a game from home, or watching a game from from at somebody else's house. You're more comfortable at your own house, regardless of how much better they are than you. It's just figure it out. Everything, and this is such a college football thing. Oh, we're going to go to 16 teams, but the Big Ten can't agree with the SEC because for some reason the Big Ten wants 24 teams in the playoff. What are they going to play? 100 excuse my language, 100 games? Come on, it's ridiculous. You can't play 100 games. That's dumb. You just got to get this stuff right with this scheduling, with the portal. Everything is all. This is not hard. This is scheduling things and having things sequentially. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, why am I watching a game on a Monday night again? It makes no sense. You lose. I bet you, Rich, and I don't know, but I bet you lose 20% of your potential audience because it's on a Monday night. But that could have watched.
Well, it's not just that either. I'm gonna go a little further for you. I'm gonna make your case for you. Um, the ratings peak on New Year's Day.
Right.
They peak on New Year's Day. The two semifinal games, the ratings were down significantly for both of
Sure.
them. Significantly. The season is stretched too long.
Right.
College football is meant to be played from Labor Day to New Year's Day, and they've got to try to figure it out. Does that mean that we start doing playoff games first week of December and we get rid of the conference championship games? Does that mean we start right after the conference championship games and we just play every week? And all right, so maybe you have the semifinals on New Year's Day, and then you have the finals like literally the next week before the wild card starts. See, I agree with you. The NFL takes all of the air out of the room, and it'll be interesting to see, with Miami being a traditional power and Indiana not, what the numbers come back for this game. If it's
Right.
under 20 million, they're losing. They're losing
Right.
because
Right.
you're losing viewership. They and it's got to be something that's got to be fixed. I know they're not going to play less games because, God forbid, we play less games. Because every time we can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. That's like telling the NFL, let's go back to 16 games. Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
owners are going to be like,
Never happening.
one less game of revenue, right? No,
Right.
I'm totally with you. It is. It's ridiculous that we're, after a great weekend of NFL, this is almost like an afterthought. It
Oh,
really
by the
is.
way,
And
yeah,
with no
here I am.
SEC
What am I
teams in
gonna
there,
do?
I think the ratings are going to be down again because,
Yep.
again, the SEC. Go ahead.
No, you're 100% right. It's going to keep going down, and I don't know why they don't understand it. I don't, because here's what it is: they don't care about the fan. They don't care about the bowl games or whatever. They're more worried about selling Tostitos or selling
Right.
Pop-Tarts or whatever they're trying. That's where college football. When you start saying about, oh, now they're going to pay the kids and everything, I have people say that it ruins the game. No, the game was ruined, because, or if you want to call it ruined, by the fact that everything is sponsored by somebody, and they're shoving money in their pockets like criminals. And
Yep.
so these kids should have gotten something because of all this. It's ridiculous. And you're making them play well into the season, 17 games. It's college.
Right.
It's college. I get that, but get started. It's easy enough. Started earlier. It's simple as that. Started earlier. You don't have to wait for the Peach Bowl. Just play the games. They're at the games are already at stadiums, on campus stadiums. Start it early. Get it going earlier. It doesn't make any, because they want to match it up so that all the bowl games on New Year's Day are playoff games. Come on, stupid.
Yeah, totally agree. All right. One other note: the Australian Open is underway. Tennis. I know we have some people that enjoy tennis.
Sure.
And I'm an insomniac. I usually get up about 3:30 to take care of some business, and I'll flick on ESPN2, and there will be some live action at 3:30 in the morning our time, which is about 7:30. I think there's a 16-hour time difference, but it's a fun 2 weeks for me anyway. So, and it goes right up until February 1st.
And I like that tournament. To me, the Australian Open is sort of gets pushed under the rug a little bit. I'm not a big French Open guy. I'm like, whatever it may be. Wimbledon is always Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open. Talking about getting gobbled up right in football season, they don't get the coverage like they used to. Remember back in the day? I know we talked about this already. When the NFL would be on at 1:00 and the U.S. Open would be on at 4:30.
4:00
because it was.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a semifinal match or whatever because CBS had it. So there's something to be said about the Australian Open. I think it deserves a little more run, like you said.
Absolutely. All right, that'll do it for this edition of the 941 Sports Zone. I'm sure when we come back next week, we'll know who the national champion is. We'll know who the Super Bowl participants are.
Absolutely.
And we are also looking to have a very special guest, and that is going to be the head coach of Lemon Bay High School. And we're going to have a little discussion, FHSAA versus SSAA.
Right.
And I think this is if you're a high school football fan down in Florida, this is going to be something you want to listen to because I don't think there's any question when we have and why in the world is his name escaping me?
Mensing.
Oh yeah, Jason Mensing, who by the way spent the weekend. Sorry, Coach. Spent the weekend up in Michigan and actually did a camp with Pat Fitzgerald of the Michigan State coach. So
I like.
he'll have a story about
I'm
that.
a fan of Pat Fitzgerald. So
yes, me too. So, but we're going to talk a little bit. He's going to give you the inside of why Lemon Bay has decided to go in the other direction. I think this is very good stuff. So we should have Coach Mensing on next Monday, and by then I'll know his name by heart. I already do. I had a complete brain cramp.
And what Lemon Bay is doing is not unprecedented. It's happening in other places.
There's over 160 schools in the SSAA right now.
Yes, indeed.
Yep. So we'll get his reasoning and everything behind it. So look forward to that next week. So for John, the below average fisherman Masoni, who at least gets to eat everything that's caught by the above average fisherman when he goes on the trip to Lake Placid. I'm Spitz. Enjoy your sports weekend. Enjoy the NFC and AFC championship games. And so long, everybody.